talk briefly about worries. We all have them, big ones, little ones, ones that keep coming back. The most annoying ones are the ones that sometimes we feed and we pay them a lot of attention and they hang around. And there are some useful techniques to work through worries, certainly when working with children, getting them to be able to process what it is that they're feeling, perhaps to give it a name or come up with the right language to express what it is that they're feeling. To work on the idea of having worry time sometimes can be a really helpful strategy. Knowing that the worries are going to be there and we could spend all day worrying about them and they'll still be there. But actually sometimes it's quite a good strategy to delay that time to a specific point. It might be, say, 10 or 15 minutes of focused worry time, and that might be combined with doodling or drawing or writing things down or talking through what it is that's worried. Maybe even with a timer. That could be a good focused strategy, knowing that at the end of that time the worry has to be left alone. It's not always a solution, but it's a training our brain, if you like, to be able to say, right, I'm going to give it some attention now. Getting our brain used to the idea that we will come back to the problem. And sometimes that can help us to sleep, certainly, but also to focus on what it is that we really want to be doing in the daytime. When you're working with children, certainly as a parent, it's sometimes helpful for the children to understand that everybody has worries. It doesn't mean that you necessarily have to burden them with some of your own, but normalizing this aspect of human behavior for lots of people is quite reassuring. And explaining it as a way of our brain being able to process or sort out our thoughts, to be able to sometimes come up with solutions. If we think about something hard enough, and sometimes we can solve it. If we talk about it with our friends or our family, they might come up with ideas that can help us. So the idea of being able to put our worries down, almost like a big bag of stones that we carry around with us, being able to put them down sometimes and even to let them go. A bit like tying something to a balloon and letting it go into the sky. I have a couple of practical tools, I suppose, that I use when I'm working with young children. First of them is Clyde here. Clyde is a worry monster. He's available in lots of different colours. And the way that Clyde works is that we feed him our worries. So we might well have a worry written down. I have particular worry cards that I issue to children, and then when they come back to me, we'll feed the worry monster with a worry. And when we zip him up, he has a nice big breakfast and he'll digest our worries and we don't have to carry them around anymore. Another way to think about it is to have perhaps a worry bag, and again to write our worries down on a piece of paper or a card, put it into the bag, and the physical action of closing the bag or zipping the bag or tying the bag up can be a marker in our brain that actually I've left it in there. It's still going to be there. I can come back to it when I'm ready and when I feel able to think about it. Keeping that somewhere safe, giving it to somebody else to look after can also be a really helpful strategy. Offering to take the child's worries from them. So I will often use that between our sessions, and the children can put their worries in there, and then when the time is right, we'll lay out the worries and we'll decide which ones we want to tackle in which order. Sometimes they might like to hold on to them and they want to put them back in the bag. That's okay. Sometimes Clyde gets an extra big breakfast, which is also very nice for him. There are lots of variations on this. You can have a jar. You could decorate a jar or a container and have a little, like a money box, a little slot on the top that we post our worries into, and that we'll open it at a certain time. Older children might like to write things down in a diary or a journal even. And then one of the other strategies is the idea of a worry tree. I'm just going to show you my example here. And on the worry tree, it's a bit like making decisions. So we start at the very top of the tree and we notice the worry. And then we try and give it a name. What is it that I'm worrying about? So this is quite a thinking process. It might work better with slightly older children. It certainly only works when children are calm. And then we come down to our first decision, the big diamond in the middle there. Is it something that's in my imagination? Or can I do anything about it? So if it's a problem that is real, or I can do something about it, we'll move to the right-hand side and we come up with an action plan. And that might involve other people or things that we could try. And then we'll move on to important questions. What, when, how? Am I going to do it now, or am I going to do it later? If I'm going to do it now, then I'll do it. And by doing that, perhaps I can let the worry go and then pay attention to something else. If I'm going to do it later, then perhaps I can make a time, stick to the time, and when I've done that, I can let the worry go. And again, pay attention to something else. Now, if we go back to the beginning and our worry is something in our imagination, which our human brains are really, really good at, or if it's something that I can't do anything about, sometimes it might be better to let that worry go. And that might be writing it down, putting it somewhere else, jotting it down on a piece of paper, doing a drawing, tearing it up into 100 pieces, something physical, and then paying attention to something else. And I hope those techniques might be useful when working with people, and that they will be helpful to managing some of your own worries.